First of all, before we get into Lebanon Valley, let's talk a little bit about the William Patterson game and what you learned from watching game film.
Well, one, we learned, our kids played hard. They played hard for 60 minutes. There was togetherness, passion, energy. They played hard, and then we just didn't make enough plays there at the end. But we saw a lot of good things, and then worked hard to, clean up the mistakes that we made from that Saturday, and then had 2 weeks hopefully to clean them up as we prepare for MAC play this week.
In the game against Patterson, the offense produced 320 yards of total offense, 107 on the rushing side, 213 on the passing side. Talk about the balance of that game, and if you think that's the direction you need to head or go a different way.
We'd like the balance, and that's what we want to do. We want to be balanced. We need to run the football, and then that helps make the passing game a little bit easier. And then you got to throw it as again, as you get into conference play, it's a tough physical conference with guys packing the box and aggressive physical defenses. So you got to throw it to open them up. So we had good balance. We felt we had some opportunities in the passing game that with more reps and practice that we can take advantage of. We left some yards on the field from there, and then consistently in the offense we had a few breakdowns, a couple penalties that ended up being some 10 or 20 yard type swings when you figure the gain of the play with a penalty that threw us off track. That we worked hard to clean those things up. A little crisper with our blocks, and could have had more yards running. But the balance, we liked the direction that we were going, and it was good to have balance.
On the defensive side of the ball against Patterson, the Monarch defense allowed 304 yards of total offense, but held Patterson to just 54 yards rushing in the game. So talk about the defensive effort.
Again, they played very hard, very physical, swarmed to the football. We got great pressure. We had 5 sacks. Which was awesome, from that standpoint. And we were, chasing him around a little bit, and then we shut down the run game. I think, they broke one run late in the fourth quarter, and that was, the longest run, of the day. Other than that, I think 6-7 yards have been their longest run. So if you can stop the run, you give yourself a chance. It forced people to be one-dimensional from there, and they hit us with a couple big plays, and then a couple things were set up with, short fields for them. I think that 3 times they had the ball inside the 50, and then they were able to score 2 times from that, and a couple were big plays where some guys are going to first start bid on some things that that they shouldn't, and we can correct those from there. But again, we played physical, we played hard, and then we got really good pressure on their quarterback.
You're coming off a bye week, so you've had essentially almost 2 weeks to prepare for this game. How was the bye week spent, and how do you think it benefited the team?
I think it benefits well. I mean, whenever you get a bye, it's always good and bad depending on when you have it. Early in the year, it's bad from a point where it's hard to you got to get into a routine, and then the routine stops, and then you got to get back into it. But we had a couple of key guys that are banged up from there, so to give the next week a healing as you head to the conference play. And the way we looked at it is now we have 2 weeks to get ready as you move from game 1 to game 2, where you make a lot of improvement, and we had an extra week to do that.
Coach, we're going to move on to Lebanon Valley right now, and they've been a pretty good program in the MAC the last few years. They're 1-1 on the season. Week 1, they won a 15-14 game over a traditionally strong Montclair State team. And last week, they lost 35-28 to defending MAC champion Widener. So talk about Lev Val and the problems that they present.
Well, what we've seen, we had the first game film Montclair. We don't have the Widener film because of our bye, so it's 1-for-1. But we saw in the Montclair game again. And you're right; they're a physical team from the NJAC, and Lev Val matched them, if not exceed them, from a physicality standpoint. Defensively, they're big and they're physical. Their front 7 is very aggressive. They fly around. They have great movement with their D line and their linebackers, and very aggressive from that standpoint. So they're a hard-nosed type of a defense that we need to be consistent and do our jobs and be able to handle their twists and their aggressiveness to give our quarterback time and create running lanes.
Defensively, Lebanon Valley has presented a lot of problems with their physicality in the last few years. So what does your team need to do in order to move the ball?
Basically, we had to protect our quarterback. I think last year in the game there, we didn't do a good enough job protecting him. They were able to create pressure and keep him moving from that standpoint, because we thought we had some guys get open and things, and then and then be consistent in the run game, and know who we're going to, and then use great technique and don't abandon that technique and get to the guys and not get caught up in their movements and then their pressures. Just stay on our track, and then we'll be fine in the run game and be physical at the point of contact. We have to be able to match, their physicality. As I said, they're one of the more physical teams, in the conference on both sides of the ball. For us offensively, we have to match that they bring defensively from there.
Lebanon Valley offensively has been a very strong rushing team the last few years. They've also graduated some top players the last couple of years, including some good running backs. What do they bring to the table on offense this season?
Well, they got again. They're big up front. They have a good offensive line. Then they know how to run the ball and they want to run the ball. And when they run it, they'll smash mouth it with you. Then run ISO. Their fullback, was like 230 some pounds, and he had some really nice blocks against Montclair. But then they'll also finesse you a little bit. They run a version of a sprint draw play, better than anybody. So again, there they can get out, and they're not necessarily beating you up, but kind of creating getting movement, and then their back's able to find holes and seams and slash through there. But then they have two very good receivers. The Miller kid's a tall kid, and then Ziegler, and then Murphy played a little bit as a quarterback, and he's a good quarterback, and a junior who's been a backup, and now it's his time, and they're able to get the ball, the pass game there. As soon as you all about the run, they have good receivers, that can hurt you.
The Kings College football team travels to Lebanon Valley College on Saturday for a 1 p.m. game in Annville, Pennsylvania. Coach, thank you for your time, and good luck to the Monarchs this weekend.
Thank you.